I am cancer free, but I am still in cancer treatment because I'm waiting for a surgery, which is part of my cancer treatment. But in terms of actual TNBC and what it's doing, it's gone. It's I don't want to say for now, because then sometimes when you say for now, you feel like you're wishing it back. But at the moment that I'm classed as NED, and which is no evidence of disease, my oncologist has explained that remission is after 5 years, not necessarily at the point of where they tell you cancer is gone, because you're still under surveillance and checkups, your bloods and other things that you may have going on, as well as the post treatment. I wouldn't say it's post cancer, post treatment illnesses, disabilities. I've got Addison's disease now, which is something I'm really struggling to navigate, but I'm learning more about and stuff. The new version of normal is a whole new different person. And I think the hardest thing about cancer recovery is explaining to people what cancer recovery is. I think a lot of my cancer recovery is try and get people to understand my cancer recovery, especially, and understanding that chronic fatigue syndrome, chemotherapy induced fatigue, and Addison's related fatigue, they are three completely different things. I think we live in such a visual world. So how I present, I look really, really well. But just because I look well or I'm speaking eloquently and putting my point across, it doesn't mean that I'm not having an emotional breakdown inside, or my body is not aching terribly. I just don't say it every day. I've made new friends that have been diagnosed because they've seen something that I've posted and have reached out to me. I had a lady on Facebook just randomly message me before Christmas and tell me that she is going to go and check herself because she's been watching my posts. She downloaded Know Your Lemons and checked and felt something. And she messaged me to thank me for it. Oh, you don't know me, but thank you for this. You don't realize what you're doing. And initially, like, I was frustrated because I used to think that nobody doesn't see. I wasn't necessarily doing anything for people to see. It was like probably more for people that know me to see. And I think also, as much as people will tell you that they care or they show empathy, also I do think that people relish on seeing the journey. I think people relish on seeing whether you fall or rise from it. And I kind of thought that I knew me, but I didn't. I think it's made me realize that, I always believe that from the day you're born, you're dying anyway. We all, but I do think from my experience, cancer is just put me in a situation where life has reminded me that I've got an hourglass above my head. So I feel like my cancer experience reminds me that I need to focus on what I do with the sand in my hourglass. And I mean everything, like what I choose to entertain, the groups I put myself in, employment, everything about me. I need to be mindful because, I've had a situation that's let me know that my sand could be potentially limited. So you've got to make sure you do well with the grains of sand that you've got. That's like my little analogy. When I'd first found out what triple negative was, and obviously I'd come home with all the little leaflets and all the rest of it. And then I thought, oh, I really want to know what this TNBC is. And the first thing that I saw was TNBC, you can get rid of it, but there's an 80% recurrence rate. And then I just thought, oh, that's it, I'm never gonna, like, there's just no point, So I think one thing that I love about my oncologist, and I don't know if, and I've heard so many different stories about people's oncologists, so I don't know if everybody gets the same treatment, but what I love about mine is when I've had times where I've just been obsessed with my bloods and things like that. She's always said, don't go on the internet, don't read everything. If you read something that's research based and it's new and it's cited from somewhere that's really good, definitely take it on board, because all research is good research. But she said that in respect to triple negative breast cancer stats and you, she said, you are your bloods and you are your stats. Even if the internet or the world will say you'll be dead in 5 years, your bloods right now today are not telling you so. And you stick to your stats. You are your body, you are your stats. And I think the one thing that she did teach me was the best thing for you to have somewhat control over your situation is, if you can within your capacity, learn everything what you can about it in the best way for it to benefit you, not to scare or hinder you. And that's not saying to somebody you need to do this and do that. It is very much easier said than done. It is very much easier said than done. So it's not something even now I'm good at, but I think it's something good to remember. Like, I am my stats. In respect to how I feel about like my TNBC and stuff moving forward, I am my own stats. And I don't think it's right to put myself in a box with others. I think it's good to be aware of the box, because we're all in it and there's something we can get from it. But in terms of me and my individual progress, I cannot compare it to others. Like, I am my own blood work and I am my own stats. I think if you ever have cancer darken your door, community is the best thing for you, but community without comparison, which is easier said than done as well. It's so hard to be in groups, and especially as a woman. I don't know about men and how they experience it, but I think as a woman, just in general, we compare and contrast, even if we say we're not, we think it, and our mind can take over. So there's been times even when I've met women that have said, oh, they're not necessarily jealous, but upset that I've been able to just go to sleep and wake up and have a mastectomy, but they've had to have the lumpectomy, then they had something else, then they had to have something else, then they decided to remove the breast, then they moved to the other side, then they've had a D-flap, then, and some stories. But then there's been times when I've looked at someone else and I've thought, oh, look at how well you're doing, or oh, look at how your workplace has just told you take the year off. And so I think it's like with everybody, isn't it? There's always something someone else has that someone wants. And it's just, I think with cancer, you think about that a lot more, and it's trying to kind of train your brain within the trauma to try not to do that. But like I said, it's easier said than done. I just want someone to look at me and think, you know what, just like most people, this person had a situation where their back was against the wall. I only had two options, do or die. So what was I going to do? I might as well try and do. Didn't want to die. So, you know what I mean? So it's not inspiring. It's just human and fight or flight, isn't it? So, if it's inspiring to some, then so be it. But I just like to think that I just want people to just be aware, either whether it prevents it for them, may or may not. But then at least if it ever happens to them, at least they can say, you know what, there's so much information out there. There's so many different people in the world that have found ways to manage this awful disease. So if anyone can take something like that from us, take that. Do you know what I mean? I don't want no one to aspire to be like me. I'm too tired. You don't want to be in my body, so don't aspire to be like me.